something an investor, one of my clients has told me, he mentioned a particular stock. He said, I've patronized this company for over 10 years. They are taking my money. I want to take their money. That sat with me.
There are some investors that they don't care about capital appreciation. It's dividends they like. You just see that unexpected bank alert on their phone and they're like, wow, this is how it is. Oh, I like this. I want to buy more.
We have a lockdown. What sector would still operate?
Yes. Yeah.
Then you want to look at where does cash flow happen?
Hi everyone, you're welcome to another episode of the Wealth Street Journal, the podcast where finance meets real life. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the stock market, what you need to know about the stock market. I have some Agba stock market people. I am very, very serious. So to my right, I have...
My name is Mariah Jayala.
Like it's Jaya, you know.
My name is Abiodun Ogunlade.
Okay, thank you for being on the show today. We usually do icebreaker questions.
Okay.
How do you reset after a bad day? Let's assume you've been at work and it's just very, very stressful, different clients, saying different things, and you're just frustrated. How do you reset after a bad day?
So this is going to sound very cliche, right?
Yes.
I just want to hug my husband.
Oh, Jesus.
So, I mean, and then I could do a movie or two or just sleep. I mean, this like almost every day.
Yeah.
So.
You see, Jaya just Louis. What about you?
Well, typically for me, it's basically football. So a day like today now, Champions League night, I'm just on my sofa, tuning in and bantering and also supporting my team.
What team do you support?
Chelsea for life.
I don't even know if I can say. I don't even know if I can say I'm an Arsenal fan right now. If that's healthy.
Don't let you guys fix it.
I know.
Okay, so another question: iPhone or Android?
I would say iPhone, although I currently use a Samsung.
Okay.
I would say Android.
What's wrong with everybody? I've not had anyone say iPhone yet.
I'd say Android. I think iPhone to me it's too basic. I use one though, but it's basic. So I think after 2 months I started using iPhone. I still didn't feel the vibe. I still went to get another Android.
Are you serious? You're the only person that's ever said this.
It's basic too.
So I think iPhone is kind of like ourselves, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of data. So Android, you know.
Yeah. So bringing it back to the stock market, to the capital markets generally, I know that a lot of people are very interested in buying stocks. Every day you hear people say, especially now that it's a new year.
Yeah.
New year, new me. I want to be serious with my life.
Involve me.
Exactly, involve me. Setting up goals,
Yeah.
New year resolutions and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you hear things like, how do I even participate in the stock market particularly? So since you play in that space, talk to us about the equities market generally.
Well, stock market, right, is basically about, owning a part of a company. Mm-hmm. And breaking it down in layman terms is owning a slice of a firm or a business that you sort of believe in the industry they are playing out, the sort of potential that business has. It's just like setting up a business for yourself now. You definitely have growth plans for it. So the equity market as well is more like you selecting a couple of companies. It could be one company, it could be 2, it could be 5, it could be 10, depending on what your outlook for that company is. And, I'm investing in it and projecting a sort of timeline that's in the end of 5 months, 6 months, 1 year. This is where I feel this company will be, and I'm making my investment in that business.
Where do you want to add it?
So I think that to start with, you want to know your investment appetite. Are you a long-term investor? Are you a short-term investor? Are you in for the quick money? If yes, the equities market is not necessarily for you. So you need to understand that. Are you an ethical investor, maybe based on your religion? So you need to identify that first, because that's going to guide what you invest in, how you invest, when to enter, when to exit, and all of that. Because if you're a short-term investor, right, you won't be holding a stock for 1 year, 2 years.
Yeah.
If you're a long-term investor, you won't be looking into a stock today that maybe you bought at 5 naira, and then because it dropped to 4 naira 80 kobo, you're exiting. Because for a long-term investor, you're looking at price appreciation in the long run. You're looking at dividend payout.
Yeah.
So there's some companies that, based on their dividend history and upside potential, and then the projections for dividends that they can pay, these are things that make them dividend paying stocks, and they are what you factor into a long-term investment portfolio. So when you're coming into the market, if you've been there or if you're just doing involve me, to involve yourself, please identify your investment objectives very, very importantly.
But yeah, thank you. You mentioned something that I also want to kind of address, which is about, so are you saying that I cannot just decide to be in the market for just 2 months and I would have stocks that would give me some level of returns for just 2 months?
Yes, you can be in the market for 2 months. However, your 2 months, you need to understand what cycle of the year your 2 months pay into. So if you're coming into the market in January and you're looking at, I want to do 2 months, is it advisable on some selected stocks? Because this is earning seasons.
Yeah.
So companies will start coming out with their corporate earnings, their financials. Companies that will be declaring dividends will be doing that.
Yeah.
And when this information come into the market, it usually it impacts price movement.
Yes.
So if you get it right, you would, before you come in and say you want to stay for 2 months, you would have identified what are the stocks that have, based on their historicals, they have, good results, good dividend payment. Because even before the dividends are paid, the fact that investors are expecting dividends, they will position into those stocks. And when the buyers are more than the sellers, you know that the price would move up. So if you buy a stock that maybe you buy at 7 naira, the dividend is, for example, 1 naira. And because investors want to position in that stock, the price can move from 7 naira to 9 naira. The 1 naira dividend that investors are expecting, you would have made it. And you can exit in 2 months. But I'm not very sure about 2 months.
What do you think? Do you think it's possible for me to come into the market in 2 months and make some money?
Well, one mantra I always tell new entrants into the market is know yourself before embarking on your KYC with your stockbroker. So typically for Nigerians, I had a former boss that says, when you say long-term investment for Nigerians, what we read from textbooks is long-term, 3 to 5 years. But for a typical Nigerian, long-term is 1 year.
Exactly.
So we need to be careful when we say so for Nigerians, long-term is 1 year. So 2-3 months is short-term.
Yes.
For a typical Nigerian, is short-term. And as I said, know yourself. What sort of expectations do you want from this stock? What sort of returns are you looking for? There are some investors that they don't care about capital appreciation. It's dividends they like. You just see that unexpected bank alert on their phone and they're like, wow, this is how it is. Oh, I like this. I want to buy more. They don't care about the fundamentals. They are dividend-seeking investors. So you need to know yourself and know what you are investing in. That, okay, this business, how is it thriving in this economy currently across the macro space? What is this? What are companies in this sector? How are they playing out? What are the growth? What are the growth spectrum in this business? Because looking at it, you can invest in some companies, and 5 years from now they might not be viable again. Looking at the way the world is changing globally, technology and the rest. And some firms that you can even know that beat your chest and say, this firm 10, 15 years from now,
still there.
Yeah, the growth is solid, the potential is great, and the upside is unlimited.
And the other thing you also want to look at is you want to look at economic reforms and how they impact.
Yeah,
That's
very important.
So, for example, for a long time we've been hearing about insurance sector recapitalization, but everybody has just been chilling about it. But then the president woke up one day and said something, and
Centered it.
We know what impact it had on companies listed in that space. So that's also something you want to take a look at. When banking recapitalization came into the news, we saw the impact on the banks. When they
and then
started
different circulars that they also got.
Exactly. So you want to consider how economic reforms would impact the sector that you want to play in.
But what if I just want to put my money and not necessarily think about all of those stressful things?
So it depends.
Yeah.
So it depends on who your broker is at that point.
Yeah.
Your broker would or should be providing you with timely market information. For example, in Meristem, we provide a weekly stock recommendation, and we do a sector by sector analysis. We let you know what our expected upside potentials are, and you can use that to key into. You don't want to read financial reports and be saying, "Well, what's the EPS? What's you don't
even
have
know
time
what it
for
means.
exactly. You don't want to go through all of that. Just follow a trusted research reports that gives this recommendation, and it's to make your investment decision a lot easier.
And to add to what you said too. So there are two rhetorical questions as to investing. When they say, do you make more money when you monitor the market daily, or do you make more money when you invest and sort of you close your eyes? You close your eyes, you uninstall the app,
Can you
and
really
maybe
close
come
your
back
eyes?
in 2 years to look at it. So there are day traders and there are investors too. So as I said, know yourself. What will bring out the best from you? So once you are able to figure that out, then it's.
And another thing is, some people can just hear that so stock, the price is dropping, and then you see herd selling. And then some people can just hear that, I'm buying so, and then they just want to buy. Without you having information to support that decision. And in the end, they'll just realize profit on top of your head.
Exactly.
Literally.
Social media is really a big enabler right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Go on X, next thing, you see the stock and you're like, why is this stock going up or why is this stock going down? What's happening?
Everyone right now is a financial advisor.
Exactly. You even see some reasons as to why they are telling people to buy this stock and you're like, bro, what's this?
Nothing is. There's no backing.
Sometimes they're trying to tell you that they want to buy a stock, and you're required to execute your client's transaction, but you want to say, sir, why? Don't you do this? Please block that person. So
that makes sense. So for someone that is just coming into the stock market, how do I start? Where do I start from?
Okay, so I would say, one, identify a trusted stockbroker. Come to Meristem. Then you need to have your KYC documents available, because these are statutory. You need your means of identification, your utility bill, your passport photograph. And just download the Meritrade app. You can register from wherever you are. You don't have to be in Nigeria. You don't have to even call your stockbroker. Just register, fund your account. Once your CSS account is on the Meritrade, you get your CSS account within 24 hours. And then you can start trading. So just identify your stockbroker that you want to partner with, create an account, provide your KYC documents, get market information, look at the stock recommendation, which is also available on the Meritrade app, and you can start trading.
So how do I know where to navigate? Like, how do I know how to navigate the app such that I know that, go here, go there, this is where you buy, this is where you don't buy. Because you're just saying,
the app is actually very, very user-friendly. Very user-friendly. And we also have how-to videos. As to, if you want to place a trade, you want to do this, how to use the Meritrade application. There's a video on that on the Meritrade app. So it's very, very user-friendly. And in the case that you get stuck, just a phone call away or a chat away on the Meritrade web app, you can chat with someone at whatever time of the day. There's someone to attend to you.
That's right.
There's an onboarding roadmap from when you install the app to when you are done onboarding. So you get different steps on your email as to how to place a trade, how to fund, and what have you.
Because I hear things like, now that I've downloaded the app, I've installed, what's next? How do I know what to buy? How do I even know how to get to where? And then there's usually, there are how-to videos. You can watch this, you can do this. And people always come back and say, thank you very much. Someone even called me yesterday and dialed me into a call with one other man and said, Matilda, I've already added one somebody. Thank you very much. So I think that a lot of people are now coming to see the beauty of the capital market. There's now much more knowledge and education about the stock market. Okay, so what are some things that you feel like people mostly get wrong about the stock market generally? And you can be specific if you have examples.
And the market is not gambling. So people tend to say, when you say, come and invest, they'll be like, stock market is gambling. Well, it's not gambling. It's you investing in a company that you believe has projection for growth. It's different from gambling. I say, oh, Chelsea to score 2 goals in a match, and you're betting because you betting you are just expecting the outcome to happen. You are not so sure about it, but before you invest in a business, in a company, you have studied their historical information, seen the macro space, and you believe that, okay, the growth prospect is there. I'm ready to, have own a slice of this company, and you want to go into it. And one thing I tell people is you should be able to do your own due diligence yourself. Right. My senior brother, who happens to be a doctor, wanted to come into the market, and I was like, give me stock recommendation, and I told him that, well, you're in the health sector space. So the first stock I recommend to you are stocks in that sector. Space. So when I'm even telling you something like, oh, there's this company, they said they want to roll out probably a new drug. If I'm bullshitting you, I'm sure you should tell me that, no, this is not. So when you're even seeing their growth prospect, you would understand it. When I send you a report on this firm and you read about it, you'll be like, okay, wow, this is cool. Yeah. And it started with like 2 health stocks, and it's feedback recently. Like, wow, this is good. Why did you not tell me about this? I should have been saying it now, but you people think I'm taking your money.
And then another thing that some new entrants into the market would get wrong is they think that to start trading equities, you need millions. You can start with as little as 10,000 naira.
Yep.
Students that are coming into the market, of course, they are taking something out of their something that they are getting from home. So, but if you can start with as little as whatever you have and be consistent with it and monitor your portfolio. So onboarding with Meristem, on a weekly basis, you get your portfolio valuation statement.
Yes.
So even if you're not able to follow the market, maybe your activities in the course of the week, on Friday, you know that you're going to get your portfolio statement. You look at, okay, what am I doing? Where's my portfolio at the moment? I came in with 100,000 naira. Am I above 100,000? Am I lower than 100,000? Then you want to know, should you average down? Buy the dip. I was going to say, buy the dip. But if you're buying the dip, please look well before you buy, And you also need to know when to cut your loss. It's very important. So maybe you've been for every entry into any stock position, right, you need to set your target exit, right? You need to know, okay, if it drops up to this point, what's my stop loss? And then if it gains, at what point can I, be grateful to God and move on to the next opportunity? You want to set a target price that, okay, if it does, maybe I bought at 5 naira, if it does 8 naira, I'm good. And if it does 8 naira and it crosses and it still goes up, you can hold your position. And if you notice that it starts to come down, maybe it has gotten to 10 naira, 12 naira, if it starts to come down and you're not sure of what direction it would, do you understand? Because you have your target price at 8 naira, you know that it is safe for you to exit. So don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. In the market, please don't be greedy.
Yeah, I think greed is one thing that has deterred a lot of people's journey in the equities market, in the stock market, because like, oh, it has gotten to 18, I'll wait for it to get to 20. Oh, it has gotten to 20, I'll wait for it to get to 25. I'll wait for it to get to 30, and then all of a sudden but I'm grateful that in Nigeria we have this 10% thing, such that in one day a stock cannot gain or lose beyond 10%, which is actually very good for investors. So I think I want to learn more about what people get wrong in the market. So aside greed and aside seeing it as a gamble, what other things do you think that people maybe do not necessarily get or they do not understand? Because there is also, like, we mentioned the bandwagon effect, where you're just moving based on vibes and inshallah, oh, someone said this, you are moving to what the person has said without necessarily moving based on fundamentals or even listening to what your financial advisor has to say about it. So what other things or mistakes have you seen, or maybe that you even made yourself?
Okay, so one main mistake people do is you need to check your temperament. So you try not to panic sell when you see the prices going down. It's very healthy when a stock price comes down because it shows that demand and supply is at play. Economics will say what determines the price of a stock is demand and supply. But I had one more factor, which is emotions, emotions also can come into play.
Yes.
You can buy a stock today and in 2 days it's already doing 30% down. You're worried that, your initial capital, you're losing it. But we expect that before you bought this company, you've done your due diligence. So demand and supply will definitely come into play where it will go up. You will never see a straight graph. It's always, it will be staggered. So you need to understand that there's a process and there's a time for entry and a time for exit. There are also investors that get out of the stock very early. You get the stock maybe has potential to do 500%, but you're already out at 50%. Then you start tweeting that, had I known, I left at 15 naira and this stock is already 215 naira. So you need to know.
Hear something like, Build, why did you allow me to?
Exactly. Why did you stop me?
Why did you advise?
Yes, exactly.
Why did you know with my hand?
Then another thing that I want to add to what he has said is there's prejudice.
Yeah.
So because you know someone that had a bad experience in the market does not mean you are going to have a bad experience in the market. Yeah. So maybe your dad or someone you know bought shares in 2008, 2007, and then the stock price unfortunately went down, or
even the company.
The company
itself
liquidated.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And then you're like, over my dead body, please wake that dead body up. Because there are opportunities in the market. And the fact that somebody is buying something does not mean you have to buy it.
Yeah.
Without necessary information.
Yeah.
The fact that someone is making money in the market does not mean you would be making that much money.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
So, prejudice, please, whatever information that you had because of somebody's experience, please discard it. You don't need it in the market. You need your own information.
Yeah.
It is your money, I believe. Even trust fund baby.
Yeah.
It is still your money.
Yeah.
And you are going into it with your eyes and your ears open. Not what somebody has experienced in the market.
Sure, just to even write on that, from the book, The Intelligent Investor, there's I might not be...
Benjamin Graham.
Yeah, I might not be saying it verbatim, but there's a part where he said that if you're entering into the market at a point where like the price has really rallied and people are buying, that's probably not the right time to buy.
That's the time to sell.
That's
if
not
you have
necessarily the right time to buy, because a lot of people have already taken or amassed, the kind of gains that you are expecting. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So
in the street we call it FOMO.
Fear of missing out. But I like the FOMO. I like the FOMO better.
Looks
Okay, that's good. So you're talking about 2006.
2008,
2008, around that period. So now that, let's assume there is a 58-year-old man that was in the market around that time that got burnt. And then now maybe his children he listens to this podcast and he hears that, stock market is actually doing good. I cannot come back to the stock market. How do you advise someone like that you can actually come back to the stock market? It is not as bad as it was then.
So,
where were you in 2008?
Please.
Let's start with what happened in 2008.
The market crashed.
Yeah.
Global.
And it wasn't just Nigeria.
Yeah.
That's the good news. So, and as a result of that, we had stricter guidelines, stricter regulations put in place to manage or prevent such occurrence.
Yeah.
So if I see a 58-year-old person asking me that question, first I want to say that I'm sorry you had to go through that. What can we do better? At 58, you want to limit your exposure to volatility.
Yeah.
I want to ask, did you hold those positions or did you exit? Were you able to exit? Are those companies still listed? So we can start from there, see what we can get for you.
Yeah.
In Maritime, we can do that service. We'll do a global search.
Yes.
You get whatever dividends that have accrued
over time
on your investment over time.
I know there's a limit now to the...
So you can approach Securities and Exchange Commission.
I see.
So if they've been transferred to the SEC, once you come, you can prove ownership of those investments. Of course, those are some of the guidelines that they also put in place to protect investors, investments, if I can say it that
Yes.
way. So I would say, okay, now how do we move on from here? We can look at what you have, if you still have them. Are there positions that you should still hold based on market volatility in the sectors, right, where those stocks are? And we can build a recommendation. We can build a portfolio for you. We can recommend a portfolio for you based on your investment appetite. It's also part of what we're coming up with. We are coming up with thematic portfolios, fine-tuned to different investment objectives, investment profiles. So, but it's the bottom line is that it's not a lost cause. It is not over. The market still has a lot of opportunities, a lot of potentials. So we're just a phone call away.
A lot of billionaires has been made in the market.
Actually, I mean,
Yes. Mariah has a lot to say about that. She does have a lot to say about that. Okay, so I know you mentioned global search. Can you just help us understand it? Because you hear things like, oh, my mom had shares at some point, but she cannot even remember the name she used, or she can't remember the email address. So does it mean that her investment is just gone like that? So can you share different experiences that you've had in terms of, oh, this person, their phone number got lost, their email got lost, and they don't even know who they banked with, at that point in time in terms of their investment?
I'm even going to do you one better. You know, when there were a lot of IPOs, in order to be able to...
Initial public offer, IPO.
Initial public offers. My apologies.
Yes.
So, when companies were coming into the market to list, to become public, a lot of investors wanted to be sure that, they would get. And then maybe there's some restrictions as to you can only get XYZ units because of the shares, the number of shares available. Someone will buy, for example, my name is Mariah Jayala. I'll buy in Mariah Jayala. I'll buy in Mariah Abiodun. I'll buy in Mariah Ogunlade. I'll buy in Mariah Matilda.
Really?
Yes, because they want to be able to get it. So today, because of the BVN, NIN in place, you won't be able to do that. But someone that has bought then in those, you'll be wondering, would I still be able to get my shares? Of course, because SEC also made provision. They are trying to work on instilling investors' confidence, to bring back, investors that the market has lost. So there's provision for that. Just come with evidence of purchase and be able to confirm prove beyond reasonable doubt that these shares are yours. You would get those shares. So if you have, we call it tracking and consolidation because we track the shares from wherever they are. We consolidate into a portfolio for you in Meristem. And we even do what we call a portfolio reconstruction because from the time that you bought it to now, your investment objectives might have changed. Do you understand? So we do a global search. You on board with Meristem as a client, and then you would do an authority letter, which we would then cover and approach the CSCS with. That, okay, we have this name. When you're doing such a letter, you give us the names that you used in purchase. And then the possible addresses. So maybe you lived in Ikoyi, you lived in Lekki 1, you lived in Shomolu. The addresses that you can remember, that it's possible that, I was using this address at the time. Make it available. Make your BVN available. And we'll go to the CSCS. The CSCS, Central Securities Clearing System, they are the custodian of shares of companies that are listed on the exchange. So they have the record of all investors. So we just need to provide them this letter on your behalf. And they will advise us. And then there's some shares that maybe you bought through a stockbroker, some shares maybe you bought during the public offers. The result of that search will determine if we're going to do a full dematerialization. Full dematerialization, if the stock is with the registrar. So it's like you have a check. That's the share certificate. You have a check and you want the value of that check to reflect in your bank account. So you want the shares on the certificate to reflect in your CSCS account. You just lodge the check. So you lodge the share certificates with the registrars, and then the units appear in your CSCS account. It will reflect in your CSCS, and you can start trading. And then if you now have dividends that have accrued over time, or maybe there have been share bonuses, over time, companies will declare bonuses, maybe 1 for 5, 1 for whatever. All of those things will still accrue because they are part of the returns on your investment. They are your reward for taking that position with that company. So you can get everything, dividends paid directly into your bank account. No longer the dividend stops. And then you can get the bonus shares accrued into your account.
Well, that's really good. It also shows that no hope is lost, because a lot of people get worried that it's been a while, and then I think it's important to also know that the entry price. That particular stock is not going to be reflecting that whole old price.
No,
it's going to be reflecting current price.
Yes, yes. So if you bought at maybe 5 naira in 2008, there's a possibility that the price might have moved up, or maybe a share reconstruction. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be reflecting the current value of that investment. It won't be the amount that you invested in at the time of purchase.
Yeah, correct.
Gordon, do you want to add to that?
No, that's fine.
All right. So, investment advice. How would you advise, aside everything that we've said, obviously, how would you advise anyone that is currently in the market, that is just thinking of coming into the market, like this is 2026 goals? How would you advise someone in 2026 about the market?
Over to you.
Well, for 2026, right, you look at the market returned over 51% last year to date. And for 2026, you would also want to think or look at what happened in 2025, what sectors thrived, what sectors didn't thrive, so much, and which sectors are projecting avenues for growth. And you can do your due diligence yourself, go through your broker and watch the news, read a lot, even go on Hex. As we are saying, there are a lot of influencers churning out wrong information. There are also investors churning out the right information. So information is key. That's the first treasure you hold on to as an investor in the market. So for 2026, consumer goods really played had a great performance in 2025. And I still expect it to do so well this year too. Looking at the beatings they had, I think from 2020 up to 2024. And
with FX and all of that.
So I'm started seeing a very healthy correction in that industry. And the growth for me there now it's unlimited. You see a lot of companies, there are even some companies that haven't wanted to delist. But right now, they are already rethinking that decision and they are staying in the market, looking at their financials. You are seeing that, the industry is really looking great and promising. So, the consumer goods space is one industry or one sector to look out for this year. Also look at the banks too. The banking sector, they are always the highlights of the NGX. So they are one sector you don't want to miss out from. And one important sector right now is the oil and gas index. I'm very interested in that sector this year.
The reforms that
the reforms. Even look at what happened in December, seeing two key players, going all into oil and gas. So, it sparks a lot of debate as to what is going to happen in the market this year, and also the projected listing of Dangote's refinery too. So, this year, the banking index, consumer goods, and the oil and gas index.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much. Do you want to give us stocks, or we should just let our investors before that?
This is not investment advice.
It's not investment advice. It's just okay. What do you want to?
Well, yes. So it's always great to start off with fundamentally strong stocks. Stocks that even when they're taking a beating, you know that, this stock has, stood strong over time. So, and one stock that comes to mind in the markets first is MTN. Again, you look at the sector they are playing out, telecoms, in extension technology. So you have this belief that MTN always has avenue for growth. The corporate governance too. Corporate governance is also one key thing you look out for. Who are the people leading this company? What are their track records? What have they done in the past? What are they currently doing? What do they say? All these directors, they're also online. You try to read more about them, know what they've done, look at their track record. So that alone will also give you confidence as to this company. Okay, this company is being led by sound minds. It's being led with people that have sense. There are people that have common sense. So yes, I'm willing to have own a slice of this company. So MTN is one company that ticks the boxes when it comes to corporate governance. GTCO as well. Corporate governance it's top notch. For them to even list in the LSE as the London Stock Exchange, so you can imagine how compliant their corporate governance is. And core business, they are among the best in Nigeria currently, in the NGX currently. So MTN, GTCO,
Let Mariah give us our own.
Okay.
So you don't
No,
let Mariah give us our own.
I'm ready in the spirit. I'm ready.
Exactly. Just give us everything.
So, something an investor, one of my clients has told me, when we're discussing something to me, and then he mentioned a particular stock. And on a normal day, I would ask them, why do you want to buy this stock? And you know what he told me? He said, I've patronized this company for over 10 years. They are taking my money. I want to take their money.
I love that.
Do you know that sat with me?
I love that.
Like, for a company to have maintained a client for 10 years, it's not like somebody has come to buy over the company or they've changed their name. They used to be one thing, they're now one thing plus the other thing. And, they've been able to maintain their service for 10 years. Over time. That is client's confidence on it. And then you can be a partaker. It's not every time you be buying recharge card. Do you understand? You also earn dividends from that company based on the performance. And you also want to look at stocks that are in essential services. Stocks that if push comes to shove, we have a lockdown. What sector would still operate? Would not be impacted. Those are sectors that you want to top of mind look into. Then you want to look at where does cash flow happen. Banking sector, people would
always spend money.
Financial service.
So a stock like Wema Bank, it used to be a regional bank. They've upgraded to being a national bank. Now they operate in the fintech space. They've been able to change brand perspective. Wema Bank, my mom was using Wema Bank when I was in school. So, you would not see me pass the streets where a Wema Bank was located. But now, I have an alert account. So, and their price has moved from 4 naira.
I remember 4 naira in like 2020.
Do you understand? It's currently trading at 22 naira levels.
20 naira levels.
That is wild.
So if a stock can do that, it shows that they are not sitting down. Do you understand? And they're also improving on themselves. They are improving their brand perspective, and they would not play with corporate governance. So banking sector, healthcare. So fitting is they have a rights issue ongoing, closing tomorrow. The right is at 35 naira.
Per share.
It's trading at 70 naira in the market. And people will use drug. It's an essential space. Then MTN. Then oil and gas. Because as much as we're talking about alternative energy, we still, one way or the other, we consume oil in different forms. So you want to, like Abiodun said, you want to look at that space. Oil money.
Exactly.
Do you understand? And then we have Dangote. If Dangote is still hustling, please align yourself. Align yourself. So
exactly. Thank you so very much for being on the show today. So until the next time we come your way, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share with everybody. Let them know that the stock market, you're going to make a lot of money so that they can learn also how to make money from the stock market. So until next time we catch you, keep investing.